is Joy News Prime.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Joy News Prime. Coming up tonight, Electoral Commission comes under fire over what is being described as several errors in its list of NHIS registrants the Supreme Court ordered should be removed from the electoral roll. From the campaign trail, the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party is asking Ghanaians to consider his track record as far as job creation is concerned and vote him into power. Thirteen new justices of the High Court sworn in with a charge to seek the highest standards of integrity in their professional and personal lives.
And coming up in business, government emphasizes need for sustainable and responsible investments to create business opportunities in the agricultural sector of the economy.
And one of Ghana's best foremost gospel musicians, Nettie, dies at the age of 47 also. Also in the bulletin, which is available across Europe on ABN television, is sports, entertainment and Joy News Interactive. My name is Araba Kumsin. Stay tuned. The Chief Justice has sworn in 13 new justices of the High Court with a charge on them to seek the highest standards of integrity in their professional and personal lives. Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, at the swearing-in ceremony in Accra on Friday, also urged them to further broaden their knowledge of the law. Join us, Raymond Aqua has more in this report.
The justices that were sworn in on Friday are Jennifer Ann Mais Ahmed, Kofi Nyante Akufo, Emmanuel Senyo Amedahe, Samuel Asarinyako, Sedina Agbemava, and Emmanuel Lodo. The rest are Rita Ajimanbudu, Ellen Vivian Amua, Cecilia Na Shome, Charles Edward Ekobedin, Kwesi Anochi Jima, Dr. Richmond Oseshe, and Francis Abangavad Achibonga. Dr. Yine also urged judges to refrain from making public comments about cases since they are not in the position to defend their statements when it generates backlash.
As judges, do well to avoid making extrajudicial and especially political statements from the bench. There is startling regularity with which judges make extrajudicial statements either while sitting in judgment over cases or outside the courtroom is worrying for a number of reasons. The first is that one cannot always judge with certainty public reactions to these extrajudicial utterances. And a judge cannot, when the statement has generated public debate, join the fray in defending his or her views.
On her part, a justice of the Supreme Court, Her Ladyship Sophia Akufo, tasked the judges to live above reproach and write decisions that were sharp and logical, and which will stand scrutiny when litigants went on appeal.
Independence is also dependent on another I, which is integrity. If you've lost your integrity, you've lost your independence, because you then become bounded, or you begin to feel bounded to somebody, to extrajudicial considerations for remaining on the bench, and you've lost your independence. A competent judge is a judge who is fit for purpose at all times, no matter the changes that will occur in the environment, in technology, in everything. The justice is respected when public perception is a positive one. So we all need to bear each other up to be committed to becoming effective justices who do our work with true independence, without fear and favor, who are doing it in a competent manner so that the cases they cite are relevant and they make sense to you, to the lawyers, and to the litigant. And it's done in due time.
The Vice President of the Ghana Bar Association, Tony Folson, reminded the judges of the support from the bar and their willingness to come to their defense when the need arises.
The bar respectfully calls on the Lady Chief Justice and the Judicial Council not to fail to crack the whip on erring judges. The bar would, however, wish to fully assure you that insofar as any judge operates within the tenets of the judicial oath, we shall be your unflinching defenders. Conversely, we shall not hesitate to expose and prosecute any errant judge in collaboration with the Judicial Service in accordance with the bar's own constitution, which mandates the bar to ensure and protect the integrity of the judicial.
Raymond Aqua reporting for Joy News.
We're taking a short break. This is Joy News Prime. Still ahead, we'll hit the campaign trail. Don't go away. Now, the presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party has been touring various parts of the Greater Accra region, urging Ghanaians to vote for him while touting his ability to create jobs. Dr. Papakwesi Indum, whose party is scheduled to hold a congress tomorrow to acclaim him as flag bearer, addressed residents of Ashaiman and Nima on Friday. He appealed to the Ghanaian electorate to vote for persons who have the capacity to improve their lives and not rely on failed promises by other politicians. Well, Joy News' Maxwell Ibaka was with the PPP flag bearer. He's just returned and joins me in the studio. Maxwell, it's been pretty hectic today for the PPP flag bearer and his team. Tell us, the first stop was at Ashaiman.
Yes.
What has he been telling the people of Ashaiman?
Okay, so as you rightly mentioned, the first stop was at Ashaiman constituency, where he drove through the principal streets of Ashaiman, and then we made a stop over at Ashaiman Municipal Council, where he met with some chiefs, some local chiefs and elders there. So basically the message there was about job creation and how he has the ability over his opponents to create jobs. So the refrain basically was that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a good lawyer. John Dramani Mahama is also a good communicator, but if you want somebody who can provide jobs for the people, it is me, Ejimera, and that's what basically he told the chiefs and elders of Ashaiman. They also pleaded, they pleaded that he makes provision for a new palace for them. Construction is already underway. So Papakwesi Indom also said that he's going to commit some resources to see to the development of that palace. Later, we made our way to the Ashaiman Newtown Park. There at the park, it was the same thing, job creation. But secondly, he also talked about education. Now, he's saying that he does not see the reason why the NPP and the NDC are focusing on the free aspects of the free compulsory universal basic education program. He's saying that they need to focus more on the compulsory part of it, because you can talk about free. If you do not make it compulsory, people would not go to school. So you have to make it compulsory, as is done in other countries. Yes. Okay, so that's what he said at Ashaiman.
Yeah, and that's an issue that he's been harping on, since 2012 during the campaign. Yeah. But he's also still been speaking on jobs when he moved to Nima as well. Yes. What else has he been telling the people of Nima?
At Nima, it was the same chorus, job creation, but he called for peace in these elections, and then he took the opportunity to also introduce to the constituents the parliamentary candidate for the East Ayawaso constituency, that's Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim. So Mohammed Ibrahim also said that the people for some time now have voted for the two major political parties, so it's just a swing between the two major political parties, but it's time for them to change. Yes, so we can listen to him right now.
Somebody says, I'll bring factories. The other one says, I'll bring jobs. Me, I won't come here and say that. I am standing here to tell you that I have brought jobs. I have created jobs. And the jobs are not only in Accra. If you go to Sampa in the Bronga-Hafu region, there are jobs there. Kwame Dansu, there are jobs there. If you go If you go well, you can go to Cherponi, you can go to South Lugu, you can go to Walensi, you can go to Tamale, you can go to Bolga, you can go to Tolong, you can go to Wedana, you can go to everywhere in Ghana. Every district, somebody is now promising to bring jobs to every district. I have jobs in every district in Ghana. So, I have been telling you also, every day you will hear from me. When it comes to creating jobs, there is only one number one in Ghana, and his name is Papa Kwesi Endo. So I want to ask you once again that your son, Mohammed Ibrahim, he needs your help. He needs your support. He needs you to push him. He needs your help so that he can become your next member of parliament. And young as he is, I have been to parliament before. I know the right things that you must do when you go there, and we will teach him to do the right things.
So that was Papa Kwesi Indum there addressing the residents of Nima earlier today.
Yes.
What's been the general response of the electorate to what he's been saying?
Well, the response was very positive, and I'm sure Papa Kwesi Indum will be excited. When we drove through the principal streets of Nima, market women left their wares to come and stand at the shoulders of the road to cheer him on. The pomp and pageantry was really massive, and there were some bike displays at a point. It looked very dangerous for me, and I had to take cover somewhere. At Nima also, it was the same thing with cars following him, a lot of brass band music also playing in the background. So pomp and pageantry was massive. Reception was very warm.
Okay, all right, thank you. And that's joining us is Maxwell Ibaka, who will be following the PPP flag bearer as he visited some areas in the Greater Accra region today. Let's stay on the campaign trail, and this time with the opposition NPP, where who the NPP flag bearer is in the Ashanti region, and the chief of Adanse Fomena in the Ashanti region wants the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party to address issues concerning mining royalties when he's voted into power as the next president of Ghana. Nana Bonstra Ifriye II says the channel of receiving their share of mining revenue through consolidated fund is worrying. He shared his sentiments with the flag bearer of the NPP when he visited the chief at his palace. Nana Akufo-Addo promised to solve their challenges and restore the nurses and teachers' allowances when voted into power. At Obuasi, party supporters lined up the main streets to listen to the flag bearer's message. According to the MP for Mampong, the massive crowd is reminiscent of the 2000 election experience. Adainimo says Ghanaians are yearning for change to better their lives. Let's go on the lines now. We're joined on the line by correspondent Mohammed Nuruddin. Good evening to you, Mohammed Nuruddin.
Good evening.
Now, what more can you tell us about the NPP flag bearers campaign in the Ashanti region today?
Well, we are now at the new Ediviasi. Earlier, we were at Adanse Asokwa, where some group of supporters were addressed, and now we are at New Ediviasi. And the flag bearer of the MPP is in a closed-door meeting with the Queen Mother here. And immediately after the meeting, he will be addressing the supporters here too as well. But what has been going on is that when we went to Obuasi, a massive crowd came out to meet the flag bearer of the MPP, and they are expecting him to solve their problems when he becomes the next president of the Republic of Ghana. And they have been speaking about the Anglo Gold, where most of their people have been laid off, and that is a challenge to them. Well, we went to Adanse Fomena Chief Palace, and he also mentioned the fact that they are not getting their royalties from the mining companies. I mean, immediately they would have to wait till it is released from this consolidated fund, and that is a challenge to them. So, in all, Nana has been sharing his campaign message with the party supporters, and he's also expecting them to come out in their numbers to vote for him come November 7th.
Now, one of the plaintiffs who sued the Electoral Commission over the presence of NHIS registrants on the voters' roll has described as problematic the list of persons whose names the Commission says have been deleted as directed by the Supreme Court. The Commission released the list on Thursday with those from the Central Region published in Friday's edition of the Daily Graphic. Its critics, including pressure group Let My Vote Count, however, accuse the Commission of forgery. Joy News' Favor Nonu has the rest of the story.
Even before the Electoral Commission released the much talked about list, skeptics, mostly pro-opposition groups, cast doubt on its ability to provide the list of over 56,000 people who had used the NHIS cards to register. Pressure group Let My Vote Count Alliance earlier Friday accused the Commission of forging the list it published, pointing out some anomalies such as names appearing twice and others without NHIS card numbers. Abu Ramadan argues that the list is riddled with errors.
When you go to the EC website, when you look at the list that has been put on the website, it's just a long list of persons.
True.
With no districts, nothing written on it.
True.
Just a long list of persons. But even today, the Central Regional list, the list I saw in court, the one we went through in court, which formed basis for the court to even give us time to write our opposition to the list that was submitted. There were a lot of names that appeared from the Central Region that didn't have voter ID numbers on them.
So the list that they gave you was segmented into what? Regions?
It was segmented into regions, then now into district breakdowns. Just the way this one is, but that one is more elaborate. It's more elaborate and more readable than what they've given currently.
What we're giving is a long list, only has segments for name, voter ID
number, and this one even doesn't have the polling station code.
I see.
Even the one here, it hasn't got police station code. But Evans, it's interesting that Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo will claim that he's been sent an email copy of the list already. If he's been given an email copy, what are his technicians doing at the Electoral Commission? Looking for a hard copy. Because that suffices for you to use in any data assessment or anything you want to do. But why would the Commission? Because we've written to the Commission officially to ask the Commission to say, give us, make it more transparent and let us understand how you're going to carry out the process. We as even plaintiff applicants, we've not even been sent copies, let alone to know even how the Commission is carrying out its activities.
In a related development, the opposition New Patriotic Party says it has not been officially provided with a list by the EC. This came to light after the NDC's Director of Elections, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, disclosed to Joy News that the Commission had been provided with a list via emailed copy.
I'm saying that they have sent. I have it even on my phone now, because the Electoral Commission said that they will send soft copies there. That they have sent. I'm saying that the technical team, I'm coming from the voter region, and I cannot speak to something that I have not done. This is a technical issue. On top of my head, you don't call me like that, and I'm able to tell you what is on that. So I cannot satisfy your curiosity. I'm sorry.
No problem. Because you said that you sent your team there and they were told that there are issues, and then so.
I'm saying that we sent a hard drive there. They are working on it. After this happened, they said the system is slow, but they have transferred it to our respective. We gave them our email addresses and they sent it to us.
The youth organizer of the NPP, Samia Oku, questioned why the Commission had provided the list to some parties, whilst others were yet to receive theirs.
I'm astonished and realistically so. Because for us in the New Patriotic Party, the last time I checked at 4:40 p.m., the party had neither received an official hard copy nor a soft copy from the Electoral Commission.
Because you had your colleague there say they have an email at least.
We sent our people there yesterday and they asked them to come today. Today, when we sent them there, they told us the hard drives and, the fact that they needed up to Sunday. So I'm surprised that the NDC do have the copy ahead of time that they give to all political parties. And, we all need to be worried. We are important stakeholders in this year's elections. And I'm surprised the Electoral Commission at every turn, per its posturing, its groundswork and conduct, seem to be feeding into the perception that they are bent on favoring one political party ahead of this year's election.
I mean, why do you say that? Just because?
But it's clear.
For example, people suggest that there's an email, but they are still waiting for.
The NDC is an important stakeholder, just as the New Patriotic Party. And if the 2012 elections is anything to go by, if by aggregate, it was almost a statistical dead heat. So if the NDC do have it, and the Electoral Commission is telling us that we can have something realistic by Sunday, that is unfair.
As many Ghanaians come through the list of NHIS registrants released by the EC, there have been concerns by some on the processes to follow once they detect that their names have been deleted. But the Electoral Commission has assured Ghanaians that provision has been made for affected persons to re-register with proof of Ghanaian citizenship.
And it's time for Business Now, and Emmanuel Abuajiwiafe joins me with the latest. Emmanuel, how are you doing?
I'm fine, and how are you too?
I'm very great.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Yes,
what's in business tonight?
Well, in business, ahead of Joy Business Talks event, which comes off at the Alisa Hotel next Tuesday, under the theme Transforming Ghana Agribusiness to the Rescue, we've been talking to one of the key speakers, the Deputy Minister of Agric, and he's been sharing his thoughts on investments in agric as a panacea for the country's economy.
Great. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me on Business. And government has emphasized the need for sustainable and responsible investments to create business opportunities in the agricultural sector. According to the Deputy Agric Minister, Al-Hassan Ahmed Yakubu, effective commercial agriculture is critical in efforts to grow the country's economy. He's been speaking to Joy Business ahead of the Joy Business Busy Talks under the theme Transforming Ghana Agribusiness to the Rescue.
Any growth in our economy that is not backed by food production, that is also not feeding our industry and manufacturing sector with the necessary inputs, will certainly not be stable growth. And so that's why we chose the theme for this year's National Farmers Day, Agriculture, Business Response to Economic Growth, to underline that very point, that our economic sustenance and stability to get the economy deliver the necessary outputs, whether it is job creation or food security or industrial growth, lies in picking agriculture or looking at agriculture from the business perspective, rather than just as a subsistence vocation that is relegated to rural folks to engage in. Okay. What the public sector, such as us, are to do is to ensure that we put the necessary policies in place. Those policies should define clearly the nation's priorities in terms of investment in the agriculture sector. Those policies should say clearly the success stories of surpluses that are building in certain commodities that need transformation into other commodity forms. Those that are lacking behind and need investment in primary production, etc., etc. That is clearly existent.
Well, let's stay on the campaign trail because the Electoral Commission says it has made adequate preparations for the Abetifi by-election scheduled for Saturday. It's, however, unclear whether those who registered with NHIS cards and whose names have been deleted from the electoral roll will be able to vote, considering the order for the deletion of the names was carried out just this week. Deputy Eastern Regional Head of the EC, Gabriel Day, remains confident about Saturday's polls, but is unable to confirm the involvement of the affected persons. Over 43,000 persons are expected to cast their votes in 117 polling stations in the Abetifi constituency. Our correspondent, Kofi Sian, joins me on the line with more. Good evening to you, Kofi.
Good evening, Araba.
Now tell us, is there a sense of excitement amongst the constituents about tomorrow's by-election?
Hello?
Kofi, I was asking if you can hear me, if there's a sense of excitement amongst the constituents about tomorrow's by-election.
Well, Araba, the kind of enthusiasm that is attached to elections in Ghana, especially when it comes to by-election, isn't expected in this very elections, because the NDC has pulled out of this election. It has remained no match for the NPP. That is what the pundits say. So the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of excitement, and the kind of interest that people would have shown in every election isn't what is happening in this very by-election.
All right, thank you very much. That's Eastern Regional Correspondent Kofi Sian up there talking about preparations by the Electoral Commissions towards tomorrow's by-election in Abetifi. Now, members of Parliament are demanding they are allowed to go to their constituencies to monitor the exhibition of the voters' register, which starts on Monday. The House is expected to sit on Monday to consider various issues, but some say their absence from the constituency during the period may not augur well for their political ambitions. MP for Old Tafo in the Ashanti region, Dr. Anthony Akutio, made the call on the floor of Parliament.
We find ourselves, MPs, in a very awkward position. Starting Monday, the Electoral Commissioner is planning to do an exhibition of voters' register. As MPs, I would think that we are expected to play some role, and the matter will be going on for 3 weeks. At the same time, we are expected to be in the House to also do this other part of our job. I'm wondering if the leadership of the Business Committee has taken this into consideration. Certainly, it would not be wise for an MP to decide not to go at all. But at the same time, we also recognize the urgency we are faced with in terms of passing bills. I'm wondering if you've taken this into consideration to allow us to partially perform these two functions, both of which are equally important to the welfare of our people and of Ghana.
Well, the Speaker of Parliament, Edward Dua Jaho, in his ruling on the matter said pertinent issues before Parliament, including maturation of the Electoral Commission's regulations, makes it difficult for the House not to sit from now till the 29th of this month. He asked members to prioritize their time to enable the House deal with matters before it.
The majority chief came to plead with me in my lobby that we should give them up to Monday. So let's see what happens on Monday. And if they are not available, especially the one that you are interested in, there's one particular one that it seems you are interested in, then the House can take a decision on that matter.
Mr. Speaker, the only thing is that by Monday, the three of them would have matured. And it is even
And still in Parliament, and the graphic newspaper parliamentary correspondent Mark Anthony Vinoko has been hauled before the Privileges Committee of Parliament for an alleged misleading report about the laying of the constitutional instrument 94 expected to regulate the election upon passage. Deputy Minority Leader Dominic Nitiwo read the charge against the reporter on the floor of Parliament.
But I wanted the wrong, misleading and misreported and distorted reports that scandalized Parliament, that made us look like we had, behind the back door, changed a CI, the content of the CI, when in fact what was laid was different, and made us a laughing stock in the eyes of the public to be changed. That's all we wanted. Your good self agreed. We called this reporter, Mr. Speaker, who's the third most important person in Ghana, plus the leadership of Parliament, called this reporter to his inner chamber to advise him that the best way is to withdraw what you have done and put the facts correctly. That in laying of a CI and an ally, and with the history of LI 1983 behind us, when the Supreme Court had to rule about the changes that were made to it that were unconstitutional, to ensure that Parliament will, together with the sponsors of the LI or CI, plus the Attorney General and the committee, consult and make all the changes before it is laid in Parliament.
And the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Ghana Police Service has rescued 5 children from the Bio Bio Island in the Eastern Region. Director of Commercial and Crime Unit of the Ghana Police Service, Felix Mausi, who disclosed this at a news conference in Accra Friday, expressed worry about the number of minors being exploited along the coastal areas. Here is Ellen Depar's report.
Tackling the problem of child trafficking has been a challenge for law enforcement authorities in the country. But statistics suggest the number of children being trafficked in recent times is reducing. Nonetheless, the police and civil society organizations have been working together to fight the menace. The Director of Commercial Crime Unit of the Ghana Police Service, Felix Mausi, disclosed to journalists Friday that 5 more children have been rescued from the eastern region. The 5 children within the ages of 9 and 19 were rescued by NGO, Challenging Heights, and the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Ghana Police Service on the Biobio Island. Mr. Mausi said the victims were sold off 5 years ago and have been working for fishermen on the island.
After sub-diligent search, the team located an island called Biobio. Biobio is B-I-O-B-I-O. And the team later rescued 5 victims. The 5 victims are aged between 9 and 19 years. And they were trafficked and re-trafficked for over 4 years by various traffickers.
He cautioned the general public to be vigilant and report child trafficking activities.
We want to caution also parents, callous parents who will receive a pittance from slave dealers and then go ahead and give their children to these people. We are determined. Criminal investigation determined. The criminal investigation department is determined to arrest, to investigate, and to prosecute offenders.
Now, news broke Friday morning about the death of Minister Danny Nettie, one of Ghana's foremost gospel musicians. The former host of Worship Zone on Joy FM was declared dead after he was rushed to the hospital at dawn. A statement released by the family said he died at about 5 a.m. It reads, the family of Minister Danny Nettie wishes to confirm the death of their beloved son, brother, nephew, and uncle. He was confirmed dead at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital at about 5 a.m. on Friday, July 15, 2016, after he was found unconscious at home. The cause of death is currently unknown and will be established after an autopsy is completed. Information regarding his funeral arrangements will be announced by the family in the coming days, and is signed by Daniel Clotto, who's uncle of Minister Danny Nettie. Here's a biography of the man Danny Nettie.
Daniel was born to a retired evangelist and his prayerful wife in Accra and was one of the couple's 6 children. Danny developed love for music at the very tender age of 6 when he started writing his own songs. Deeply influenced by the music genre blues, he fused the musical taste with raw native rhythms. His love and interest for music persisted throughout his elementary and secondary education. Danny Nettie rose through the ranks to become the music director and also led the local Scripture Union Fellowship as its president during his secondary school days at Accra Academy. He says he later answered God's call to minister in songs to the nation and beyond and started a music group called Danny Nettie and Pals. In 1995, Danny released his debut album Positive Change, which shot him to fame. One of his main goals was to train and produce talented young song ministers in Ghana and the sub-region. His works enabled him to travel across Africa, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America, sharing God's love and grace through ministration. Danny has also performed on the same stage with international gospel artists including Ron Kenoly, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Bibi Winans, Kirk Franklin, Israel Houghton, Don Moyne, and Alvin Slaughter. He also bonded very well with his listeners on a Sunday afternoon gospel program on Joy FM called The Worship Zone. May his soul rest in peace.
Well, that's to you
Father's Day edition of the Worship Zone. To all fathers out there, including my fathers, those that have played the role of fathers in my life. I keep tracking the father songs, whether father on earth or father in heaven. That's what's going to be, all right? So you stay tuned. It's a special Father's Day edition of Father's Day of worship on the Worship Zone, that is. Look at me. I'm having fun, all right?
Joy News' Derek Ekosam was at the Nettie's residence Friday morning as friends, relatives and sympathizers trooped in to commiserate with the family.
There was great grief at the Mateko residence, which had attracted quite a number of people after news broke of his demise. Danny's mother, who Joy News has learned discovered his unconscious body, was being consoled by one of the sympathizers. Amidst the grief, though, some took solace in music. Holding hands together, they broke out in a song. Most of the family members were too grief-stricken to speak. Danny Nettie was an integral member of the Musicians Union of Ghana. Second Vice President of Musica, Reverend Thomas Yosin tells Joy News, his demise is a big blow to the union and the entire industry.
We were even thinking of a program. There's a program, Grand Ball, that will be coming up, programs, and when this peace concert we're going to do, where just, he will be on board, because he's a great guy. I quite remember I took an award for him in London, and the awesome things they said about him was, and the musicians too, is lost somebody great.
Friends and associates have described him as a man who seized every opportunity to draw people closer to God.
It's a great loss, a huge loss. They call him the father of contemporary gospel music. And that's not because he was the first to innovate, but he stayed the course and he pushed the limits even when it was not popular to do that. And he was a world-class musician.
There will be nobody like the Big D, as we call him. The Big D is a Big D. And losing the Big D in the industry is something that hurts, because every time that I'm doing my concerts, if Danny is around, definitely he will be on board.
According to them, his last words, grace, grace, as you minister before the throne of God, lead more people in, will forever resound in their ears. For Joy News, Derek Ekosam.
And Danny Nettie would have turned 48 this September. He never married and has no child. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Up next is entertainment. And time now for entertainment, and guess who's in the studio? Miss G.
Yeah, I'm here, but today is rather Black Friday, like people will say, because the entertainment fraternity, we are joining all the gospel folks to mourn the death of Danny Nettie.
Very sad.
People say he's the founder, some people say he's the father of contemporary gospel music here in Ghana, and a lot of people have been sharing, their experiences with Danny Nettie, and it's sad how the news broke early this morning. I was driving to work. I remember somebody sent a message and said, we've heard that the Nettie is dead. And I said, whoa, this can't be true.
It did. It came as a shock to everybody, even people who didn't know him closely. I didn't know him closely, even though he works here at Joy FM. He hosts a show on Sunday.
Worship Zone, yes.
But every time I meet him, I'm left with a sense of, trying to do good. In the world, because he embodied and epitomized what was good in this world, and so I think that he will be really he'll be sorely missed.
Very, 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 very true. And one thing also I always say to people is that when Danny is not on Worship Zone, I get to notice because I follow very well. He has a way of playing very, very simple worship songs that he can relate with. 3 lines, 4 lines. And I was telling the guy who used to sit in for him that anytime Nettie is not on, I know he's not, because he either plays a lot of his songs or he plays the simple songs that you can relate with. And so it's a sad one that today we had the news. And unfortunately for him, he wasn't sick at all, because from what we heard, he was on air on Sunday. Yes. He actually worked on Sunday. Exactly. And even last night before he retired to bed, he actually shared a prayer with his mom, who he lives with, only for her to wake up this dawn and hear some funny noises from his room and try to find out what was happening. And she thought that he was unconscious and called for help from his brother-in-law, and they rushed him to the hospital and he was reported dead on arrival. So it's sad, very pathetic, because this is somebody who didn't fall sick. He wasn't ill that you say that, okay, he had been ill a while, so we were expecting. But, you know, you just wake up one morning and he's no more. It's a very, very sad one.
It is sad.
Very, very sad
and I mean, it's thrown the whole entertainment, I'm sure, entertainment. And just beyond entertainment, everybody generally who knew him or had heard of him are in shock of his death, because nobody expected it. You know, as you were saying, he wasn't sick. He didn't show any signs of any ailment or anything. And so really, I mean, we are all at a loss as to what could have, you know, pushed him over the edge.
That's true. But like we say, may his soul rest in peace, and our condolence as well to his family and friends. But let's move on to some other story. Even though we're mourning Danny Nettie, let's talk about Funny Face, who eventually has released a video, you know, after rumors that, you know, he had actually made comments to suggest that his wife cheated on him.
Wow.
Yes, because, you know, on I think on Wednesday we had news that for 7 months now he's been divorced to his wife, Nana Adjoa, and then we realized that for 7 months he had kept it away from the media. Then all of a sudden, after the media got to know 7 months, he had kept it away. Days after, he started releasing stories or giving hints as to what happened, even though he won't address the issue particularly. He was on television saying that, oh, if your wife cheats on you or your husband cheats on you, then your wife is a witch or the man is a wizard. And the people started reading meanings and saying that, yes, maybe his wife cheated on him. Then today he posted a video on his Instagram page, and you want to hear what Funny Face had to say.
Okay.
I've been with her before. She once shared my bed. I will not come out and destroy or tarnish her image. People calling me, people who know the story, some of her friends who know the story, who wants me to talk. Some people who want me to talk, her own friends sending me messages, Funny, talk. She's disgracing you enough and everything. No. What will I get? At the end of the day, assuming I have a child with her, how would the baby feel? It's been very few, like it's been very intensive for me for the past years that I got married to her and everything. People really know the story, but I won't come out and destroy her or say any negative things about her. I've been quiet about it for 7 months now. Why will I talk now? People saying I'm granting interviews here and I've never spoken to anybody.
Time for sports now, and Asari Bediako joins me in the studio. Asari, good evening to you.
Good evening, Arab.
You're looking very good in your green.
Thank you very much.
Interesting outfit there.
I'll get you one.
What's in sports?
Yes, a lot in sports. Match day 19 of the Ghana Premier League. Hearts of Oak are playing against Hazakes. It's the top line of the weekend, and Mark Wilmot, the manager of Belgium, has been fired by the country's football association after a poor showing at the just ended Euro 2016.
All right, take it away.
Okay, so it's now time for sports here on Joy News Prime. My name is Asari Bediako. For starters, the impasse between the Ghana Football Association and the Ministry of Youth and Sports doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, and President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, Kwabena Eboa, is calling for ceasefire between the two bodies.
And we're tired of that. Are we suggesting, for instance, that every single sports minister in the last 50 minutes was bad enough, that we couldn't work together? We will definitely have our differences. But I think that in the spirit of humility, in the spirit of sobriety, and in the larger picture of serving Ghana football, it's important for people to bury some of these differences and bury their egos and move forward to have a common ground, all in the name of Ghana football. What is there to achieve?
Let's now focus on matters on the football pitch, because 7 cracking games will come off this weekend in the Ghana Premier League. The Techiman City versus Mediama SCLA game has been postponed because the Takwa-based club will play Young Africans of Tanzania in the CAF Confederations Cup on Saturday. But the Chelsea versus Dwarfs game will come off in Brekum, Kotoko. Welcome Bechem United to Kumasi. Defending champions Ashanti Gold will meet Inter Allies in Obuasi. In other Week 19 fixtures, Hazakers go head-to-head with Hartlepool at the Esipon Stadium. Liberty Professionals meet Dreams FC in Dansoman. Ejana Stars welcome Neo Dibiasi to Doma. And league leaders Wa All Stars travel to play Wafa in Sogakope.
That's how we wrap up the news. Thank you for your attention. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a wonderful weekend.
This is Joy News Prime.